G'day everyone, my name's Cautious Pancake and today I've got 10 little tips from Alpha 21 for you. I've had a fantastic time playing the experimental over the streamer weekend. Massive thanks again to Wayward Echo for the invite. Make sure you check out his videos if you don't already, as he's got some awesome builds coming for you to enjoy in Alpha 21. In the meantime, here's my top 10 little tips to be aware of that aren't the big game-changing mechanics, but are the little things to know about as you play. And my first tip isn't even in the game. That's because there's a new command line argument that's been added that will automatically load your last saved game. To add it to your Steam launcher, right-click on 7 Days to Die, then click Properties, and in the General tab, in the bottom text box for Advanced Game Launch Options, enter -quick-continue as shown. From then, just launch the game as usual and you'll be taken directly into your last save. Once you're in and playing, and this one's a bit subjective, consider spending a point into cardio. I don't know if it was just bad luck, but I always seem to have a really long run to the trader at the start of the game. And in some cases, the first trader was also a kilometre away from the nearest town, now that traders aren't always in towns, meaning I spent a lot of the first day just sprinting around. You don't need to keep the point forever if you don't like it, but for the first week or two in game, I think it comes in really useful. Another early game point worth considering is Iron Gut. Food and drink aren't always easily available at the start of the game, and while all of the changes to the water mechanics aren't an issue after a few days, for that first bit, having food last a little bit longer is worthwhile. Speaking of making food last, a good recipe early on is red tea. This hasn't changed, but it's easily accessed now after finding 6 cooking magazines, which you'll often find when looting kitchens. You don't need to spend any points into MasterChef or anything like that to get it, you just need the magazines. Just be aware that without the points in MasterChef, the cooking does take a while. Coming back to allocating points that you might not want all the way through, it's worth mentioning that the Forgetting Elixir has had its price dropped significantly. It's now only 6,000 as its base cost, and that's before any of the price reductions like Better Barter, Sugar Butts, 44 Magnum, etc., which are all still in the game. In addition to that, Forgetting Elixirs also have a small chance to be found in Tier 5 loot chests. So don't be afraid to use some early game quality of life skills and then switch these out later on if you don't need them anymore. Just keep in mind that magazine drops in the new Learn by Looting systems will tend to give you more of the magazines that align with where you've spent your skill points, so fully changing weapon specs later on could set you back a bit. There's now a clear button in the text fields. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited by this. It works in both the inventory and the shapes menu, and what can I say, it's the little things sometimes. The workbench recipe now uses duct tape and nails instead of a hammer and a wrench, which is a great improvement. So you don't have to use your first wrench for a workbench, but it's worth knowing this before you get too far thinking that you still need to. Mailbox loot has been rebalanced to give a better mix of the Day 1 perk books and skill magazines. More than ever now, it's worth hitting up every single mailbox you see for the skill mags and books. The mutated zombie has had some big changes. They've increased its damage, they've increased its priority of its ranged attack, they have increased its XP you will gain from killing it, and they've made the radiation pools cause brief radiation damage to the player. Something to watch for when you're out exploring the wasteland or finding them in big POIs. The new doors. First, let me say that I love them. They feel so much more real as you move through them. The animation and sounds are just so much better. The thing I hate about the new doors is when you're stealth clearing a POI and the doors open and block your line of sight. I end up just smashing them now with an axe. They are one hit from a tier 1 stone axe, so it's just easier than opening them up and risking waking up the zombies as you try and get line of sight. So that's my top 10. With the alpha now generally available, how are you finding things and what is your favourite tip from this list or any other? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope you're all having a great time playing Alpha 21.